told to deliver this message. Told to deliver this message.
Assalamualaikum family, it's your brother Landon X. This is NationTown TV, and actually this is unofficially the first episode of a project that I've been working on called Hip Hop Autopsy. It was just a topic that popped up in the last 48 hours, so I said, man, I might as well, cut out all the pageantry and go ahead and get it done. But this is the first unofficial or official episode of Hip Hop Autopsy, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about what that means. But let me start off in the proper fashion, no matter what show it is. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God who appeared to us in the person of Master W. Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are forever due. If you understand, I further bear witness that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the fulfillment of the promise made in the Holy Quran when it says, certainly a messenger would be raised for every nation, not just 2 nations or 5 nations or 10 nations, but every nation. Nation not just meaning an actual governmental body of land, but also a group of people. And this is our messenger according to the promise of the Holy Quran. And I would know nothing of those men if it were not for this beautiful brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And if you have not heard, he will be gracing the minds and the understandings of the people on July 4th, 2020. You wonder where he is and where he was. And like I said before, he gonna tell you where you are if you understand and if you pay attention. In those 3 great names, I greet you in the words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum to everybody chiming in. And like I said, this is our first crack, I guess you could say, at the project that we're working on called Hip Hop Autopsy. And what Hip Hop Autopsy is, we're basically going to review, newly released music, give it a very, I guess you could say, supreme analysis, and really break it down, not just new music, but also classics, and also go into situations that relate to hip hop, something that I've been talking about, that I've been toying with for quite some time. I just wanted to make sure I had the right, I guess you could say, vehicle or the right instance to bring it about. And since I decided earlier today to go about this actual topic, I decided that this would be the best route to go. But I'm going to pull up some information just so you know what to expect from Hip Hop Autopsy. Once again, shout out to everybody that's tuning in. But this is Hip Hop Autopsy. Let's go. So let's get it. Now, as you can see, as always, we have the caption at the top, where we're going to delve into a controversy that kind of bubbled to the surface the last 48 to 72 hours involving our brother J.Cole. And essentially, for those who were not aware of what happened, first of all, it wasn't as serious as they made it out to be. However, it was a situation where he put out a song. And this is something that he's kind of notorious for. He'll drop a song and he'll probably never put that song on an album. Like he had a song a few years ago called False Prophets, where a lot of people thought he was going at Kanye, and in reality, he really was. Also, Wale, the rapper named Wale, but he never actually put that track on an album. It was just him expressing himself through music, which is what we really want artists to do, right? Instead of just making gimmick music just so they can sell a few records. Whenever something is on his heart, on his mind, he usually, blesses the people with some type of perspective. But in this story, in this song, but it's really more like a story, he's explaining a particular sister who posts a message on social media, and the social media world, Black Twitter, they immediately identified the person that he was talking about, and it is a rapper slash poetress, some sister by the name of No.Name. And I'll be honest, I didn't know anything about No.Name, and I reviewed some of her poetry, some of her music. I cannot honestly say that I'm thoroughly impressed from a music and an artistry standpoint, but one thing that you get right off the top just by scratching the surface of this sister's work is that she's extremely intelligent, which is not surprising, that the second self of God would be intelligent. But Black Twitter took hold to it. J.Cole never denied that it was about her. She got upset. And then Black Twitter, particularly Black female Twitter, and particularly Black LGBTQRSTUV Twitter, really took offense to it, because No.Name apparently is a sister who, and which is pretty common these days, who not only considers herself woke and connected to social issues, but she's also a strong purveyor or defender of LGBTQ lifestyle. I don't know if she represents that herself, but apparently she does, and her so-called response to J. Cole that I just heard today for the first time kind of solidifies that, because that's the last line of the song, is that, she basically is saying, all this stuff going on, why are you talking about me? You got Black trans people dying, and why are you talking about me? I don't really know what she means by that. I haven't personally heard of any stories of a particular Black transsexual being murdered anytime recently. But that's on the rundown. But I call this Hip Hop Autopsy, and I plan on standing behind that and showing and proving that, because we're going to actually get into the words that J. Cole spit, as well as some other songs that he did, to kind of get into as to why we're taught the way we're taught in the Nation of Islam, and and ways to combat getting sidetracked and having internal issues, you know, whenever we're at war. The last episode we did of revolutionary relationships, we talked about courtship in the midst of war. And and we kind of touched on this topic, but this is a perfect example of why we should be careful. Be very careful about what we say to each other and what's going on when we know that we're at war. But do we know that we need each other? That's also another question that we're going to deal with. Again, shout out to everybody tapping in. Sidi Shabazz, Muhammad Ali, Assalamu alaikum. You know, feel free to hit us with comments and questions. Inshallah, we'll get the time to deal with them. But we're going to get right into the actual lyrics of the song. The name of the song that J.Cole put out, it was about 72 hours ago, a couple of days ago, called Snow in the Bluff. Now, first of all, I take issue with the name of the song. But when we go over the lyrics, you'll see why he called it that. But Snow in the Bluff is like one of my favorite movies. But I see what he means. But let's go right into the actual lyrics, if we may. Again, shout out to everybody tapping in. Share this, hit like, share again, and share some more. Get this message out there. But we're gonna go into the actual lyrics real quick, like, and in a hurry. This is the first bar. This is J. Cole's words on the song Snow on the Bluff. He says, niggas be thinking I'm deep, intelligent, fooled by my college degree. My IQ is average. There's a young lady out there, she way smarter than me. I scrolled through her timeline in these wild times, and I started to read. She mad at these crackers, she mad at these capitalists, mad at these murder police. Okay, makes sense. She mad at my niggas. She mad at our ignorance. She wear her heart on her sleeve. She mad at the celebrities. Low key, I be thinking she talking about me. Now, I ain't no dummy to think I'm above criticism. So when I see something that's valid, I listen. But shit, it's something about the queen, the tone, that's bothering me. Now, I'm going to stop right there. That was one of the issues that Black Twitter took issue with. That he didn't like the tone that she was speaking with on her post. And they thought that it was misogynistic. That he was being very misogynistic. Keep that in mind. Is the next bar. She strike me as somebody blessed enough to grow up in a conscious environment with parents that know about the struggle for liberation, and in turn they provide her with a perspective and awareness of the system and unfairness that afflicts them, and the clearest understanding of what we got to do to get free. And the frustration that fills her words seems to come from the fact that most people don't see. Just because you woke and I'm not, that shit ain't no reason to talk like you better than me. How you gonna lead when you attacking the very same niggas that really do need this shit that you saying? Instead of conveying you're holier, come help us up to speed. Shit, it's a reason it looked like 200 years of our ancestors just to get freed. These shackles be locking the mental away more than the physical. I look at freedom like trees can't grow a forest like overnight. Hit the ghetto and slowly start planting your seeds. Fuck is the point of you preaching your message to those that already believe what you believe? Wow. And then he says, I'm on some fucker retweet. Most people is sheep. You got all the answers, but how you gonna reach? If I can make one more suggestion respectfully, I would say it's more effective to treat people like children, understanding the time and love and patience that's needed to grow. Therefore, we just got to learn everything as we go. I struggle with thoughts on the daily, feel like a slave that somehow done saved enough coins to buy his way up out of slavery. Chicken George. Thinking just maybe in my pursuit to make life so much better for me and my babies, I done betrayed the very same people that look at me like I'm some kind of hero because of the zeros that's next to the commas. But look here, I promise I'm not who you think. Ran into this nigga outside of the store yesterday. He said something that had me like, wait. He was like, Cole, appreciate what you've been doing, my nigga. That's real. But damn, why I feel faker than snow on the bluff? Well, maybe because deep down I know I ain't doing enough. So that's the gist of it right there. Now we're gonna actually break this down. First of all, it's so much, it's so much in those bars that remind me of not only the teachings, but also in the lifestyle of an FOI. Let's go back and look at a couple of things. He says, you got all the answers, but how you gonna reach? If I can make one more suggestion, I would say it's more effective to treat people like children, understanding the time and love and patience that's needed to grow. The messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, don't feed a baby steak. He also gave us the clean glass concept. A lot of people erroneously credit Malcolm X with that, but it was, of course, just like everything else of any value that Malcolm X was taught, he got it from the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, which means you don't have to condemn a dirty glass, just put a clean glass next to it, and then people will choose the cleaner glass. And then he says, therefore, we just got to learn everything as we go. I struggle with thoughts on the daily, feel like a slave that somehow has saved enough coins to buy his way up out of slavery. Now, remember that part, because we're going to touch on some things in a moment coming from the teachers. Now, we're not going to be on very long, but I want y'all to really walk with your brother on this. Shout out to everybody chiming in. We got Brother Eric Muhammad, peace. Brother Billy Bland, Sherry Land Giles, Sherry Land X, excuse me. Assalamu alaikum, dear family. Definitely hit us up with your questions and comments. But couple of issues I had. First of all, our sister, with all due respect, she really seems to encompass a phenomenon that's been going on really in the last 10 to 15 years in what they call the social media age. Because in the social media age, you have this instance of being woke. Everybody's, oh, I'm woke, I'm woke. And what that really means when we hear that and when we see that on social media, what they're saying is, oh, I really know what's going on. I know a little bit of history that they probably didn't teach me in school, which ain't saying much. It's a whole lot of black history and Aboriginal history that they didn't cover in school. They probably covered less than 1% of it. In fact, I know for a fact that they covered less than 1%. But that's what we think when we think of trivia. The reason why the game trivia is called trivia is because most of it is information that's really useless. And information can be useless if you're not doing anything with it. Remember in the lyrics that J.Cole just said, he said, how you gonna reach? How you gonna reach the people? What are you gonna do with the knowledge that you know? And me personally, I don't use the terminology woke, because if you think about what woke really actually is saying and means, it doesn't say much. I don't know anybody on this earth that wakes up standing upright. I don't know anybody that you would have to go to sleep standing up in order to wake up standing up. When you wake up, you have your back to the bed. You wake up, your eyes open. You're awake, your eyes open. You hit the snooze button. You roll over a couple of times. You, like I said before, you might think about, if you had to get up to go to work, you might think about quitting your job just for another 15 minutes of sleep. You might, if you're in school, if you woke up to go to school, you might think about dropping out of school just to get a few more minutes of sleep. But you're awake, but what are you doing when your eyes first open? You're not doing anything. The better terminology would be up. Because once you get up, that means you're doing something. The first thing most people do, they get up, they go to the bathroom, and they clean up. They wash the crust off the side of their mouth, clean the boogers out their nose. They wash their backside. They get themselves together so they can go out into the world and do whatever it is they have to do. But this era of being woke basically just means, especially when something is trending, when something trends, when another brother gets shot, when another sister gets killed by the police or comes up missing, now we want to do a roll call on who's woke and who's not. But in reality, the best of us, and those of us who are really up, not woke, but up. See, when you're up, you speak on issues even when it's not trending. You speak on issues when nobody's talking about it. When everybody else is talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, everybody else is arguing about whether it's LeBron or Kobe, if LeBron is better than Kobe or LeBron is better than Jordan. Everybody else is talking about the latest rap beef. Everybody else is talking about this, that, and the third. Everybody else is talking about the new PlayStation, talking about the new Jordans that's coming out. You have this particular group of people, like the white boys say on Taken, who have a particular skill set where they are up and they are woke when it's not trending. I'm going to give you an example using more lyrics. J.Cole put out a song. He put out a song in 2017. And in this song in 2017, he basically is talking about the nature of this country and what's going on. Let me find it real quick. Now, this is the first bar of that song. I want y'all to pay attention to this. The name of the song was High for Hours. Remember, this is 2017. This is before George Floyd. This is before, you know, the issues that are going on right now, even though similar issues have been happening for some time. This is 2017. And this was the sister's so-called No Name. This is what she was saying, that all these rappers, and she really seemed to lean toward J. Cole, all these rappers, you know, where are they? Why are they not saying anything? Everybody else is out here. We got white people out here. We got homosexuals out here. Where's all the rappers? But this is 2017. 2017, J. Cole says, American hypocrisy. Oh, let me count the ways. They came here seeking freedom and they end up owning slaves. Justified it using Christianity would say, religion don't mean shit. It's too much ego in the way. Then he goes on to say, can you walk with me? I hope we'll find this is the next bar. That's why ISIS is a crisis. But in reality, this country do the same shit. Take a life and call it righteous. Remember when bin Laden got killed, supposedly in a hotel lobby after a show, was noticing these white ladies watching CNN covering the action. They read the headline and then they all started clapping. As if LeBron has just scored a basket at the buzzer. Stood there for a second, watched them high-five each other. For real? I thought this was thou shalt not kill, but police still letting off on niggas in the Ville. He's referring to his hometown in North Carolina. Claiming that he reached for a gun. They really think we dumb and got a death wish. Now somebody's son is laying breathless. When I was a little boy, my father lived in Texas. Pulled up in a Toyota, drove that bitch like it was a Lexus. So this is 2017, and this is J. Cole speaking on what's going on in the world when there was nothing particular at that time that was trending. And see, this is just something that we have to understand. There's a group of people out here who are constantly on their game, who are constantly trying to put you up on what's going on in the world, that are out there in the streets, not just on social media, people that are out there pushing their program to the people. You know, if you compare it to Noah in the Bible, Noah taught for, I believe it was 150 years. See, it wasn't a cloud in the sky, so people laughed at him when he was building this ark. So you got to know how to read the so-called poison book, also known as the Bible. It's not talking about nothing spooky or no Hollywood. Oh, he put 2 of every animal in this funny style boat. No, it's talking about somebody who's trying to get people to come on board with what's really going on. And he had to teach for 150 years, people laughing at him. People laughing at him. But then when the storm clouds came and it started raining and raining and raining, now they checking for Noah. Noah had already set sail. See, there was a similar uproar with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Where is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? What's up with the Honorable Minister? Where is he at? Where? Now you want to do a roll call. Now all of a sudden it's so important. Now all of a sudden it's so important where people are who have been trying to tell you what's going on for a while. And speaking of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and J.Cole, these are the two right here at the NBA All-Star game, the most recent NBA All-Star game, the two embracing each other. And it's very clear when you really follow some of the things that J.Cole does that he is very aware of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He was also, present at 10/10/15, the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March, where another million was called to Washington and answered the call. And he was there. He was not. He didn't have no large entourage. He really wanted to be low key. You know, he didn't want to make a big scene, but he was there. I saw him with my own eyes. I was there. But what I'm pointing out is, when it comes to being so-called woke, but better yet, being up, it's a 24/7, 365 type of thing. It's not something you just do when you see white people marching and burning stuff down. Now you want to do a roll call. Now you want to know who's woke, who doing this, who doing that. People that have been in it and been calling your name, been blowing the trumpet, they're exempt, man. From a hip-hop standpoint, there are certain artists who I don't expect to hear nothing from. I don't expect to hear nothing from Kendrick. I don't expect to hear nothing from J.Cole because they've been on this. If you're going to call somebody out, call out the Drakes. Anybody checked on Drake? You notice? Think about it. Drake been hot for what, 10 years now? How many major stories of police brutality and police murder, or just, white on black murder, have taken place in the last 10 years since Drake been popping? How many of those issues has he touched on? I seen him do a video that was in a bar mitzvah. For those that don't know, Jake is Jewish. I'm just saying, take it or let it alone. But nobody's called him out. Nobody's called out some of these other rappers that we call so-called mumble rappers, who all they put in our face is, spending all their money, on jewels and jewelry, and spending all their money on cars, and spending on, and you want to talk about disrespecting women, you want to talk about misogyny. I'm not going to say no names, but it's quite clear who's really doing that. So this sister's, for her to aim her red dot on J.Cole, I mean, or should I say pink dot on J.Cole, because it wasn't really red. I listened to what she said. I listened to the little response that she also put out. I wasn't very impressed, and I'm just keeping it 100. But what this whole thing reminds me of, going into our lessons, Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1, question number 7. Why does the devil keep our people illiterate? And the answer is so that he can use them for a tool and also a slave. He keeps them blind to themselves so that he can master them. But check this out. It says illiterate means ignorant. Ignorant, and the true understanding and meaning of ignorant is just someone who does not know. We got a lot of people out there, male and female, black folks, Aboriginal folks, who just don't know. They don't know about COINTELPRO. They don't know about this young lady right here. I mean, this guy right here. You don't know about him and Clyde Tolson, his lover. You don't know about him. You don't know about COINTELPRO. And I know a lot of these so-called woke Negroes don't know about COINTELPRO because they still asking the same questions about Malcolm. Who killed Malcolm, when COINTELPRO tells you who kills Malcolm? Because when you read COINTELPRO, they basically high-fiving each other. The FBI high-fiving each other for setting that whole thing up. In the Freedom of Information Act, it's all out there, but they know we don't read. We go off of emotions. We go straight off of emotions. Now, furthermore, our Western Regional Student Minister out here in Los Angeles, Abdul Malik Saeed Muhammad, he's done a good job, a great job actually, of weaving in a certain mental syndrome that black people are absolutely suffering from. The Stockholm Syndrome, right? In the Stockholm Syndrome are feelings of trust or affection felt in many cases of kidnapping or hostage taking by a victim toward a captor. Let that sink in. Let me put it in layman's terms. Stockholm Syndrome is when you've been kidnapped or you have an oppressor or a captor and you've been there captive for so long that you start to sympathize with them. And this is based off a real incident where some hostages were taken in Stockholm. That's the name of the city. And then when the trial came up, many of those captives, they defended. They testified in defense of their captors, saying, you know what, we understand why they did it. It's okay. Now, we know that we suffer from Stockholm Syndrome with our open enemy. It's just a fact, whether you like it or not. But not only do we suffer from Stockholm Syndrome, we suffer from something else. We suffer from something else. When we are used as a tool and a slave so successfully, these are young black people who are educated. Like Brother J.Cole said in the song, you know, some of us are being raised by progressive and very, you know, revolutionary-minded parents. We go to some of the best schools. Growing up in the internet age where it's never been easier to research. Never been easier to research. So how can the devil fool a Muslim in 2020? And when I say a Muslim, I'm talking about the real meaning of the word, which means every Aboriginal person. I don't care what religion you claim, or if you don't claim a religion at all, you're a Muslim whether you like it or not. How can he fool us with all this information, with all this knowledge, and we so woke? It's not only Stockholm Syndrome, because you see Stockholm Syndrome right now with the George Floyd situation in the uprisings and riots, if you want to call it that. We arm in arm with the enemy. We arm in arm with people who haven't put a dime on our salvation. Okay, white man, you believe Black Lives Matter? Okay, prove it. You know, word is bond and bond is life, and I'll give my life before my word shall fail. But in today's world, unfortunately, the modern measure of somebody's bond is how much money they put on it. It says it in the Bible. Wheresoever a man's treasure, so is his heart. I mean, if my mother, she owns her house. If she's not finished paying on it and she dies, and let's say she leaves the house to me, does that mean I get it scot-free, that I don't have to pay a mortgage because my mother left it to me? No, that means that house note is now my burden. I have to pay that debt back. So I'm not impressed with the Caucasians out there talking about Black Lives Matter. I'm sorry. Put something on it. Go to your people in Washington, D.C. and tell them, hey, I'm a white guy. I love black people. I don't mind a 10% hike in my taxes over the next 10 years in order to pay for reparations. If you're willing to do that, then all right. I still ain't going to protest with you, but all right, you my man. I still ain't going to invite you to the cookout, but hey, I might send you a plate. I might send you a plate. But not only do we suffer from Stockholm Syndrome, you know how we do on NationTown TV. I made something up. We suffer from Black Home Syndrome. Or Black Home Syndrome. What is Black Home Syndrome? It is negative self-hate learned from the modern black experience at home. And this is where we're going to get into this thing that keeps rearing its head amongst us, and that's the battle of the sexes, where somehow black women have been convinced that their biggest opponent in this world is the black man, and black men have been convinced that their biggest impediment to their happiness, to their success, to their salvation is a black woman. Who told us that? Stockholm Syndrome. Because let's face it, because of the COINTELPRO strategy, because of the breakup of the black family, because of prison industrial complex, because of crack cocaine, because of poverty, because of want, the black home experience has changed dramatically in the last 40 to 50 years. If you grew up in a black family 70 years ago, you can't even recognize the black household today. Even if you grew up, now you probably thinking, well, wait a minute, what if I grew up like the Cosbys? What if I had my mama and my daddy in the house, and my mama was a doctor or a lawyer, and my daddy was a doctor or a lawyer or a high school principal or whatever the case may be? I grew up with a good upbringing. Oh, okay. Well, tell me this. Who is really raising children today? Is it really parents? Or is it television? Or is it social media? Or is it these rap artists and the images that they putting out there? Is it the magazines? Who's really raising? So even if you grew up in a so-called nuclear family, what's the message that's being put out on these reality shows, in this rap music? What is it telling black women? Is it telling black women, love your black man, support him, have his back? No. No. Is it telling black men, love your black woman, respect her at all costs, don't call her out her name? Hell no. So the black home experience is what's causing our condition right now. So in the midst of George Floyd, in the midst of Breonna Taylor, in the midst of Ahmaud Arbery, in the midst of all of this that's going on, in the midst of Donald Trump, who's in my hometown right now campaigning, I think that was a wise choice. I grew up there. Hey, Oklahoma been a red state for quite some time. The last time it went blue was when Bill Clinton first ran for president, and that's because he was a redneck from the neighboring state of Arkansas. But anyway, in the midst of all this, we make sure we find the time to go at each other's neck as black men and black women, because we have black home syndrome. We were raised to see the other in a negative light. You can't tell me that you grew up watching television, taking in media. You had more time in front of the television than you had sitting with your mama, sitting with your daddy, and having them teach you. We also live in the era of where parents are more focused on being their children's friend than being their parent. So it really wasn't a whole lot of teaching. I'm just calling it like it is from what I saw. It's not really my personal experience, but I've seen it. But I did experience growing up around adults or black women who constantly say negative things about black men. I know what it's like to walk down the street and the older brothers in the neighborhood constantly using the B word, constantly using the H word. I'm a hip hop head. This is hip hop autopsy. I can't even form the lie on my tongue that hip hop artists are respectful overall to black women. I can't say that. I can't say that. So with that black home experience, we at a point now where we constantly going at each other's necks. But I'm going to bring that up one more time. The black home syndrome. Negative self-hate learned from the modern black experience. I came up with the name, but our open enemy came up with the process. And for those who might be saying, "Oh, brother, I don't agree with that. I don't think we really have an issue with black home syndrome." Okay, well, let's look at this. Ask yourself a question. Let's use numbers. Mathematics is Islam. Islam is mathematics. It stands true. It can be proven in no limit of time. Let's look at this. Right now, because of the way the economy is set up, like Kevin Hart say, the way the economy is set up and the way COINTELPRO has leaked into every facet of American life, it's 100 times easier for a black woman to get a job in the corporate world or any job, post office, whatever. How many sisters do you know in your family that have been at a job for longer than 10 years? Lots of them, right? There are even a lot of brothers out there who've been on jobs for 10, 15, 20 years. Retired from the post office, retired from American Airlines, retired from Pepsi, from Coca-Cola, retired from this, retired from sanitation, retired. We stay on these jobs working for the white man for years. How many people you know have been married for longer than 10 years? How many people you know go into organizations that are built for the salvation and the betterment of our people, and they stay committed to that for longer than 5, 10, 20 years? See, when you have Stockholm Syndrome, you don't see the value in staying committed to anything that's black like you, because you grew up in an environment where black was always seen as less and inferior. The code words that we hear growing up in a black community. Think about it. The overall goal of damn near every black person or aboriginal person in the so-called hood is to do what? Make it out the hood. Man, I'm just trying to get out the hood so I can move to a good neighborhood. What is this good neighborhood? See, that's a code word. Man, I'm just trying to work hard so I can send my they call their children baby goats, send my kids to a good school. What does he mean or she mean by good school? I'm going to tell you what they mean. They mean a school where your child is an ink spot or a mascot. Your child is being taught by a Karen. You know, all these Karens that we laugh at on social media. These are the people you want to move next to when you call yourself moving to a good neighborhood. Don't tell me you don't like them when you constantly trying to be right up under them. That don't even make sense. So that Stockholm Syndrome always has us thinking that black is negative. Black is bad. Black is your enemy. Black is your enemy. In fact, the most racist white person, and listen to this, the most racist white person believes that the only good black man is a dead one. I've heard racist people say, I heard a racist say that on Donahue when I was a little boy. He had some KKK member on there, and he said the only type of nigger I like is a dead one. Now think about that. All this negativity comes up based on J.Cole's song. J.Cole is a black man. I don't know if you know this. I'm a black man. I don't know if you know this. But I don't seem to see an outpouring of love toward a black man until what happens to that black man? Until that black man dies. But while I'm alive, I'm a misogynist. While I'm alive, it's slim pickings, as the sister who did that viral video where she was tearing black men apart, saying that in order to get a good black man, you got to get 3 different black men in your life just to put together a good black man. See, we ain't a damn thing until we die. That's because some of us have adopted the same mentality of our oppressor. Stockholm Syndrome mixed with Stockholm Syndrome. Brothers, we are not innocent either. How does the most racist Peckerwood see black women? How did the slave master see black women? If you ever hear a racist say that he thinks black women are ugly, he is lying. The slave master spent more time in the slave quarters with so-called bed wenches than he did with his own wife. You ever seen those old dresses that white women wear? They got I forgot what it's called, but got all the padding around their backside. And then they wear them wigs that are this high up in the sky. Long before Shaquisha and them was wearing them high, hair hats. Rich white women were wearing weaves and wigs that were 5 feet above their head, and they had these fancy little dresses that made their backside look enormous. You know why they did that? Because they were jealous, and they realized that their slave master husband was spending all day and all night in the slave quarters. And she's thinking to herself, what does that little nigger wench have that I don't? Maybe he likes her hair that stands on top of her head. Well, let me go get a wig that stands on top of my head. Maybe he likes that big backside. Let me go get a dress that makes me look like I got something back there because I got a washboard booty. See? So look at how the slave master treated the black woman. How did he treat her? He treated her like a dog, like an animal, used her for what he needed, and then he was up out of there. Look at how black men, many of us, look at women and even talk about women. See, that's black home syndrome. That's black home syndrome. You know, take it or let it alone. Now, going back to the song, going back to the issue, our sister, who goes by the name No Name, she was just flat out incorrect in her assessment of J. Cole. I was thinking on my way home today, I was thinking, is there a rapper that's alive today? And you can only answer this question if you actually listen to J. Cole. You can say that you listened to his mixtapes when he first came out, all his albums. I can't think of a rapper that's alive today who has put out more music that is supportive to black causes, but particularly black women. He had a song where he risked a great deal of cool points amongst the brothers, where he was singing about folding clothes for his girl. He was so in love that he'll fold her clothes for her. Singing too. I would say maybe Common is the only other rapper that's alive today. And Common, you know, he's a legend, but he ain't on J. Cole's level as far as record sales. I think the only rapper of all time who could really say that they are more supportive of black women in their lyrics is Tupac Shakur. And he been gone for almost going on 30 years. But this is the rapper that you want to call out as a misogynist? Why? Who put you up to that? Why does the devil keep our people illiterate? So he can use them as a tool and also a slave. And then when we talk about, like I said before, you have certain people who are always about this life. They always conscious. We always woke, always up. Where was J. Cole doing Ferguson? He was in Ferguson. Where was J. Cole doing 10, 10, 15? He was in 10, 10, 15. You feel what I'm saying? He was even involved in the most recent. I don't have a picture for that, but he was involved in the most recent demonstrations involving George Floyd. So when our best and our brightest are being attacked by our best and our brightest women, that tells you right there that there's an issue with black home syndrome. I'm not going to be on much longer, but shout out to everybody chiming in. Brother Brian E. Muhammad, Brother Jeff Walker, Brother Bruce Davis, Assalamu alaikum family. Brother Brian E. Muhammad says, true, brother. All praises due to Allah. Brother Jeff Walker, good teaching, dear brother. Wa alaikum salam, dear brother. But we're being used as a tool and also a slave. Now, before we get out of here, like I said, I got the feeling just based on actual fact, the fact that J. Cole, he was at 10, 10, 15. He heard the minister's monumental lecture at 10, 10, 15. Like so many other artists in hip hop, he's embraced the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So it's only natural that he and him being a studied brother, he actually has a college degree, one of the few rappers that has a college degree. It's kind of obvious that he knows something about the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I'm going to prove it. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that great preacher of freedom, justice, and equality, he gave us something called the proper handling of people. The proper handling of people. And a lot of believers may not even know that the proper handling of people is not guidance and teaching that the messenger gave us just to be nice to each other. He gave us this knowing the value of unity and knowing that being disunified at a time of war is a guaranteed way to lose that war. Let's look at the proper handling of people, and then we're going to go into some more bars from J.Cole, and we're going to get up out of here. The proper handling of people as taught by Messenger Elijah Muhammad. Now pay very close attention, because everything that I'm going to point out, you can also find it in some lyrics from a particular song that J. Cole did recently. Now, here's just some of the instructions from the proper handling of people. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Give honest, sincere appreciation. And now, mind you, everything we going over is what we should do toward each other, our own people. This ain't about what you should go run and do to a white man. You've been giving him proper handling for 450 years. We ain't talking about him. We talking about each other. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Give honest, sincere appreciation. Arouse in the other person an eager want. Check this out. I hope y'all can see that. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. I got to say that again. Number one at the top. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid the argument. Again, this is talking about our people who have been at war with an oppressor for 400 plus years, and it has all of the elements of a war. We have bombings, multiple bombings. We have murders. We have casualties. We have attacks. We have battles, and it's all stretched over 450 years. Show respect for the other man's opinion. Never tell a man he is wrong. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. Remember that part. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. Begin in a friendly way. Get the other person saying yes, yes, immediately. Let the other man feel that the idea is his. Let the other man do a great deal of talking. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. Be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. Appeal to the nobler motives. Dramatize your ideas. Throw down a challenge. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. I'm going to say that again. Indirectly, call attention to people's mistakes. But begin with praise and honest appreciation. Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Pay attention to this, because we're going to run right into this in a minute. Let the other man save his face. Saving face means when you don't clown somebody in front of other people. You know, you make fun of him. You make other people laugh at him and look down at him or her. Let him save face. Even if you got some kind of knowledge that's just going to crush them, just drop that, just lay it down on the floor. It's going to crush them, but, you know, you don't want to make an event out of it. Praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise. Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. Use encouragement. Make the fault seem easy to correct. Make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. Now listen, this ain't no J. Cole love fest. I respect the brother as an artist. I think he's a good artist. I can't call myself a top fan of his, but he's made quality music for about the last 10 years. He's a good artist. But I'm going to bring up a track that he did. I think he released it 2 years ago, where he was speaking about the new generation of rappers. It was a song called 1985. And it's called 1985 because that's the year he was born. And in this song, he's talking about the latest generation of rappers, you know, who rap about, you know, doing dope all day, getting high all day, you know, all types of drugs, you know, having, you know, spending money, running through women. And also, you know, hip hop, I call them hip hop snobs. I'm not a hip hop snob. Yes, I love 90s hip hop. Yes, you know, I feel like the golden age of hip hop was between like 1991 and 1996. Yes. But you got these hip hop snobs where if a rapper is not rapping with a particular dialect, or if they're not from a certain city, or even from a certain era, we just hate on them, you know, for no reason. And it's really just a sign of getting old. And some of us are just mad because we're getting old. We should be happy. We should be happy in light of Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd and Alton Sterling. We should be glad we getting older and we getting gray hair on our head. But I'm not a hip-hop snob, but you got these hip-hop snobs who like to talk about mumble rappers. So this is J.Cole talking about that generation of rappers. But I want you to pay close attention. Pay close attention to what he says, keeping in mind the proper handling of people. Some of the things we just went over. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. Now check this out. This is the lyrics from that song, 1985. 1985, I arrived. 3 years, damn, I'm 33 years, excuse me. Damn, I'm grateful I survived. We wasn't supposed to get past 25. Joke's on you, motherfucker, we alive. All these niggas popping now is young. Everybody say the music that they make is dumb. Listen, I remember I was 18. Money, pussy, parties, I was on the same thing. You gotta give a boy a chance to grow some. Everybody talking like they know some these days. Niggas acting woke, but they broke. I respect the struggle, but you all fronting these days. Man, they barely old enough to drive. To tell them what they should do, who the fuck am I? I heard one of them diss me. I'm surprised. I ain't tripping. Listen good to my reply. Come here, little man. Let me talk with you. Remember in the song where he was talking about our sister, he said you should come at people as if they're children. So everything he's asking her to do, he's already done it. Come here, little man. Let me talk with you. See if I can paint for you the larger picture. Congrats, because you made it out your mama's house. I hope you make enough to buy your mama a house. I see your watch icy and your whip foreign. I got some good advice. Never quit touring. Because that's the way we eat here in this rap game. I'm effing with your funky little rap name. I hear your music and I know that rap's changed. A bunch of folks would say that that's a bad thing. Because everything's commercial and it's pop now. Trap drums is the ish. That's hot now. See, I've been on a quest for the next wave, but never mind. That was just a segue. I must say, by your songs, I'm unimpressed. He being honest. Hey, but I love to see a black man get paid. Come on, man. And plus, you having fun, and I respect that. But have you ever thought about your impact? These white kids love that you don't give a F, because that's exactly what's expected when your skin black. They want to see you dab. They want to see you pop a pill. They want to see you tatted from your face to your heels. And somewhere deep down, F it. I got to keep it real. They want to be black and think your song is how it feels. So when you turn up, you see them turning up too. You hit the next city, collect your money when it's due. You getting that paper, swimming in BITCHs. I don't blame you. You ain't thinking about the people that's looking like me and you. True. You got better ish to do. You could have bought a crib with all that bread that you done blew. I know you think this type of revenue is never ending, but I want to take a minute just to tell you that that ain't true. One day them kids that's listening gonna grow up and get too old for that ish that made you blow up. Now your show's looking light because they don't show up, which unfortunately means the money slow up. Now you're scrambling and hoping to get hot again. But you forgot you only popped because you was riding trends. Now you old news and you going through regrets because you never bought that house, but you got a Benz and a bunch of jewels and a bunch of shoes and a bunch of fake friends. I ain't judging you. I'm just telling you what's probably going to happen when you rapping. About the type of shit you rapping about is faster route to the bottom. I wish you good luck. I'm hoping for your sake that you ain't as dumb as you look. Now, remember that last line. I'm hoping for your sake you're not as dumb as you look. So J.Cole did exactly what he's asking this sister to do. We know you conscious. We know you woke. We know you got the poetry game and all of that. Cool. But don't talk down to your man. George Floyd was a living black man at some point. Trayvon Martin was a living black young man at some point. When we talking to each other, brothers and sisters, when you talking to a sister, you might be talking to the next Sandra Bland. So don't call her a bitch while she's alive and then have her face on your t-shirt afterward, or you posting about her on social media afterward. Sisters, when you talking to your brothers, there's a very good chance you talking to the next George Floyd. You might be talking to the next Ahmaud Arbery. Look at these brothers. These brothers were everyday brothers. I bet you everybody that's watching this right now, you knew somebody like him. You knew somebody like Ahmaud Arbery, former football player, liked to go out and jog. You know, had a little run-in with the law before. Same thing with George Floyd. You knew a Philando Castile, a hard-working brother, you know, about to marry his wife and take on the responsibility of being the father to her child, but also believed in being strapped, so he was a legal gun carrier. We all know brothers like this. We all know sisters like Sandra Bland. There's a lot of brilliant sisters online right now. A lot of people forget that Sandra Bland, even before it was really popular, Sandra Bland used to go live a lot when she was alive. And she would talk about, you know, black salvation, talk about what we going through. Sisters like this, who just recently on the 15th posted this on Twitter, said black women are so lost in this moment. The enemy will use us in every way they can to destroy black men, and y'all are falling for it. See, sisters like that, who could be tomorrow's Sandra Bland, could be tomorrow's Breonna Taylor. So don't front like you love us, but then hate us when we're alive. That don't even make sense. And we say Black Lives Matter. But how can you say Black Lives Matter when you constantly at war with the process that produces black life? I see women look at heterosexual black men with the jaundiced eye. And then some brother come, you know, twirling around the corner, hey. And she, you know, her defenses melt. And we wonder why so many young men are growing up like that. It's not just the chemicals in the food. It's not just the media. There are some women who we have hurt so bad, black women that black men have hurt so bad, that they find some kind of twisted, I guess you could say, comfort in knowing that their child, their little boy, won't grow up to break a woman's heart because he's a punk. Because he's well on his way to being a homosexual. And they think to themselves, well, at least he won't be like his daddy. I guarantee you that runs through some sisters' minds. So we constantly, even in the midst of war, we going at each other's necks. That makes absolutely zero sense. And it makes me question, male or female, if you really believe that black life matters. If black life matters so much, let's show how much it matters when we still have life. If J.Cole was to be murdered today like our brother Nipsey Hussle was murdered last year, a lot of people had never heard of Nipsey Hussle before he was murdered. J.Cole is one of the top selling artists in the game right now, in music, period. Imagine how all of a sudden oh man, he was in Ferguson, he was at 10-10-15, he did this, he made this song, he made that song. He did this for the sisters, did that for the sisters. And this is a man who speaks so highly of black women on every album. Name a rapper that can say that on every album they showed love to black women. He has. Every mixtape, every album, he shows direct love. Not subliminal love, direct love. But he makes one song where he just questions a sister's delivery a little. Not what she's saying. He never said she was wrong. Like Proper Handling of People says, don't say that they're wrong. But he never said she was wrong. He just questioned her delivery. And he's already proven in the past that he knows how to do that. So he ain't asking her to do nothing that he hasn't already done. You understand what I'm saying? But here's the catch. Here's the funny thing about J. Cole. He shows love to black women on every album he releases, every mixtape. And he was not even raised by one. His mama's Caucasian, just like the 44th president. And his father was a black deadbeat father. But Allah blessed him with a level of love in his heart for his people that transcends hip-hop. So we got plenty of enemies to throw darts at people. And I'm not saying you can't be critical of your brother or your sister. But there's a time when you want to keep that criticism either on mute or make sure that you handle it properly. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he one of the few black men I know of in the history of the world that has millions of black and white supporters, but also millions of black and white haters. But when was the last time you heard him put a black man's name or black woman's name fell off his tongue and he spoke of them in a sharply negative manner? He always sees to it that he does the proper handling of people when he's dealing with especially with black people that speak ill of him, that lie on him. Barack Obama failed the Farrakhan litmus test. Keith Ellison failed the litmus test. So many of these entertainers that you love so much failed the litmus test, but he don't speak ill of them. He understands the pressure that they under, and he understands that they don't know no better. We got to start taking on that same spirit when we dealing with each other. I got to check myself sometimes. I've been going kind of hard on Candace Owens and Ben Carson on a public platform. Think of how convenient that is to know that you destroyed an entire people, but when you come to check on them, you expect to see them so mad at you, loading up their guns to come and get you, sharpening their knives to come and get you. But when you come back to check on them, you only see them arguing with each other, pointing a finger at each other. Ain't that convenient? You rob a store. You come, they say, criminals always come back to the scene of the crime. You come back to the scene of the crime, and instead of the police investigating and they looking for you, you show up to the scene of the crime. The police are arguing and going back and forth with the store owners. And you robbed them blind. That's what our enemy is doing right now. That's what the enemy is doing right now. But I want to close out with this. I'm going to go back to Lost Found Muslim number 1. Question number 7. Why does the devil keep our people illiterate? Answer. So that he can use them for a tool and also a slave. He keeps them blind to themselves so that he can master them. Illiterate means ignorant. A tool and a slave. The only reason you use a tool is to build something or fix something in a way that you see fit. The enemy sets up these little quarrels and instigates. If you Google the sister No Name and you Google J.Cole right now, just put his name in Google right now. You ain't got to put nothing else. This whole incident will pop up. and you'll see all these mainstream news outlets speaking on it. People who don't give a damn about either one of them, that don't give a damn about black women or black men. And they going over this whole controversy like a blow by blow, like a referee. Tool and a slave. Because they know that once they use you as a tool, you will come out on the other end looking and acting just like them. Perfect example, that song that I just went over the lyrics, 1985, where J.Cole was was critiquing the new generation of rappers. Out of all the rappers that it sounds like he's talking about a whole dispensation of rappers, 20, 30 rappers at least. The only one who publicly responded negatively was something called Lil Pump. And yes, this is him. I don't know why he's dressed like that. I've never heard his music, nor do I care to, but this is actually him. A white boy who's taken on the persona of a new age, young black artist. But this is the only one that actually responded in a negative way to what J. Cole was saying. And when he did the most recent song, this is who responded negatively. So to my brothers and to my sisters, when we let them use us as a tool and a slave, look in the mirror. You basically look like this when you let the enemy use you against your brother or use you against your sister. You look like this. No matter if you're a beautiful melanin complected queen, second self of God like this, your spirit looks like this. Need I say more? Need I say more? I think it's a training bar. I don't know. But that's what happens, I guess, when you pop too many pills and you're a devil at the same time. But with that said, family, I thank y'all for tuning in and walking with your little brother on this journey. But let's keep this in mind. We're going to continue to do this segment of hip-hop autopsy. In the future, it's going to be more focused on the music. And the only reason I made this hip-hop autopsy segment is because I was dissecting actual lyrics. But in the future, we're going to also do these new releases. And I'm not just going to go over music that you might think I like or that believers might like. I'm going to go over the music, and I'm going to try to take on the mind of the messenger, proper handling the people, and also the spirit of our brother J. Cole, and handle our people properly. But you're gonna see more of that coming from us. I leave y'all as I greeted y'all in the words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.